Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today's question comes to us from John Calberer, Jr., KF7 Victor X-Ray Alpha. And here is his question. It's really more of trying to steer me to check something out for him. Hi, Dave. Love your content. The one vertical antenna that works pretty darn good and does not require radials is almost never covered elsewhere. It's the Gap Challenger. I've seen it for years. I've never heard much about it. I'm not sure I've ever seen one. It does have to have three 25-foot wires that work with the 40-meter band, but it does not require regular radials as it's a vertical dipole. Okay, so it'd be an end-fed vertical dipole. The three radials can be bent some if necessary. Mine works pretty darn good. It's very strong on 20 and 40 meters and good on 17, 15, 12, 10, and 6. It also does 2 meters. The price is right, and it requires a very small footprint. With those 40-meter counterpoises, it'd be 20 feet, 20 meters, and a quarter meter to 10 or 30 feet each. That's not perfectly small. Price is right. Let's see, 80 meters limited as with most multi-band verticals. I would say all. Well, not all. My Step IR Big IR has a big box with coils in it and a relays so that you can pick the part of the 80-meter band you want to work and then work that part. Let's see. Look at the reviews on QRZ. It's very well rated by its users. Mine is just 10 foot off the corner of my house with a metal roof and has large pine trees around it. It gets great signal reports and does some great DX. Not saying it's the best vertical out there, but it's better than many and fits small lots very well. Give it a look. I think it's just under 500 now. If you can't do radials, I think it's the best vertical. Before we jump in and answer or address John's question, I'd like to pay a special thank you to Abby Dees, K6XIX. She is one of the newest patrons for this channel. You too can become a patron of this channel by going to patreon.com/KE0OG and choose a method that works for you. Now let's jump in and take a look at this. The Gap Challenger is this antenna right here, and the price direct from Gap is $489.95. Now, the thing about this is the antenna right here, so it hides very well in trees. Be very nice for an HOA area where you have some trees. Now, my trees are nowhere near that tall, but it still would hide a lot of it, so we'll probably try it in that. I will need to buy that. Now, until, unless you know somebody at Gap, they'll send it to me, I'll need to buy that, and I'll have to wait till I've got enough channel funds to buy that. And then we'll take a look at that probably this spring and see how well that does. It is an antenna that a lot of people are interested in. Now, it is an end-fed half-wave dipole, and so there's got to be something down here and some sort of counterpoise somehow for that thing. So we'll figure out how that works. Now, there are lots of antennas that work using the same principle. The Cushcraft AV640 and AV680 are antennas that work that way, and the R7, R9s all work the same way too. They don't require radials, but they do have a counterpoise at the bottom. They all require that you get the bottom of it up about 10 feet in the air, which is going to mean guying with rope or something to keep that thing up. Okay, so I believe it'll handle the full legal limit. And now there are other versions of their antenna. They sell quite a few. So this will be a good antenna to test for this year. Now, I'm going to test it in two ways. One way that I'm going to test it is the instructions. Like any HF antenna, it doesn't say this, but it's a kit. You don't get a 30-foot long box with the thing fully assembled. In fact, I doubt sincerely that any two parts in there will be connected together. So it's going to take a day or two to put together. It is a kit. So the quality of the instructions becomes extremely important, and I'm going to test those instructions by having a very smart person who's not a ham try to assemble that antenna as though they had just earned their general and they want to get this antenna on the air. They're a young person. They don't have a lot of experience in doing this, and we want to see how well that works. I tried that with the DX Commander, and with version 1.16 of the manual, it flunked. But with version 1.18, the manual was good enough that we got it together. It collapsed the first time we put it up, but then my young person, my assistant at the time, Jakeman, put that thing back together and we got it up, we tested it, it works fine. Okay, so the new instructions had to be followed extremely closely. They were not easy like Heathkit instructions. So we'll take a look at the instructions here. By the way, the DX Commander works fine. It's a vertical. It works like a vertical. This vertical here, it says on their page, some people say there's a 1 dB difference between this and a single-banded vertical. I doubt that, because it's a vertical. A vertical is a vertical is a vertical. No matter how fancy you make it, it's a vertical, okay? And they're going to perform almost exactly the same. If there's a difference between the two, that's because one has a poorer design or something like that. So we'll take a look at that. So thank you very much for your suggestion, John, and we'll see if we can't get that sometime this spring and go from there. So there you have it. If you would like to help support this channel financially, you may certainly do so by going to dcasler.com/support and looking for a way that works for you. You can pick Patreon, or you can do a one-time tip, or you can do a recurring tip. It's like a subscription that you can do on PayPal. You can join anytime and drop out anytime that you want. You have complete control over that, as you do with Patreon. I've recently rejiggered Patreon so that instead of what I had originally done, where people would get their names and pictures on websites, which just proved utterly impractical, we're just changing it to levels. I've got the bottom level is the electron level. We go to the neutron level, then we knock that electron off, and we go to the proton level. And then above that, at the very highest level, I thought it should be something interesting, and we called it the quark level. A quark is a subatomic particle, and it seems appropriate for the people at the highest level to be called something exotic. So there you have it. Until we next meet, 73.